We've beaten Brawl's adventure without moving. We've beaten Ultimate's adventure without moving. We wish Smash 4 had an adventure we could beat without moving. But there's still one Smash Bros. Adventure mode left unconquered, the one that started it all. The adventure mode in Super Smash Bros. Melee. Unlike Brawl and Ultimate, Melee's adventure mode isn't a grand story campaign, but rather a series of consecutive platforming and fighting challenges based on most of the series represented in the game. You beat one, you move on to the other. It's simple compared to later games in the series, but it still holds some challenges. Though I felt like it wasn't challenging enough, so since I have yet to see someone do this on YouTube, I took it upon myself to try the No Movement challenge on Melee's adventure mode. I played this mode a lot growing up, so it should be simple, right? So first of all, what is the No Movement challenge? Basically, you ignore the use of the control stick and other standard movement options for the entire game. In Smash Bros., that means no walking, running, turning around, crouching, rolling, directional air dodging, wave dashing, dash dashing, and so on. The GameCube controller, however, has a second control stick, most commonly referred to as the C-Stick. The C-Stick gives us access to smash attacks. Strong attacks characters can use usually to KO opponents. Smash attacks are usually done by pressing the A button along with a direction from the control stick. The C-Stick basically gives us both at the same time, a quick input known as a macro. Certain smash attacks also move characters around, usually being their forward smash. So in adventure mode, we can use the C-Stick to use smash attacks and... Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, so Melee has this limitation that sets it apart from later entries, which is there is no button mapping. In versus modes, the C-Stick does the smash attacks we want it to, but in single player modes, the C-Stick instead acts as a camera you can zoom in and out. For some reason. And you can't change this. Luckily, my totally legitimate copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee comes with a code that allows us to use smash attacks with the C-Stick in single-player modes. However, that's not enough. Because before this challenge even starts, we immediately run into a problem. A 5-foot ledge. Smash attacks have this limitation that prevents characters from falling off an edge, which in some cases can be useful for lining things up, but if we can't even get off the platform, how do we even start this challenge? Well, in order to make this work, we have to bend the rules a little bit.
We have to violate the rules.
There is a second type of attack every character has, which are known as special attacks. Special attacks function the same way as smash attacks, but are done with the B button instead of the A button. However, because there's no button mapping, the C-Stick in Melee is not capable of using special attacks, and I wasn't able to find or create a code which changes the macro's input from A to B. So typically, no movement challenges require the control stick to be ignored, but if we limit ourselves to just smash attacks, we won't be going anywhere. Which means I'm going to do my own thing here and say I can use the control stick to simply activate a special move. However, I cannot hold the control stick any length of time afterwards. What this means is moves like Mewtwo's Warp and Ness's PK Thunder will only ever move in one direction, and we won't be adjusting our fall when in free fall. Because these are my own inputs and not a set macro, I may end up missing an input here and there, but I will correct it if possible. Sometimes though it's just out of my control. So we'll have access to both special attacks and smash attacks for every character. This isn't as overpowered as it sounds, as Melee's adventure has one more limitation compared to later titles, being the amount of characters you use. Throughout Brawl's and Ultimate's adventure modes, you are capable of switching characters when you are prompted to do so, whether it's through a menu or by losing a life and rotating out. In Melee, the character you choose is the one you are stuck with throughout the entire adventure mode. You can't clear one level with one character, just to switch to another. What you pick is what you get. This all sounds pretty basic if you've watched a no movement challenge video before, so let's make things a little more challenging. I'm no stranger to self-imposed rules in video games. In fact, I started my gameplay channel doing challenge runs back in 2015, which was 9 years ago. Oh, okay, I made myself feel old. Anyway, most of these runs of mine, the final rule for this challenge is if we get a game over, the run ends. Melee's adventure mode gives us the options of difficulty and the number of lives we want to use. To make this challenge even marginally possible, I went with very easy and gave every character 5 lives to work with. If I don't complete adventure mode with those 5 lives, then regardless of whether they could have made it or not, their run ends. That was a lot of explanation, so to recap, control stick is only used to activate special attacks, C-Stick is used to activate smash attacks, and if a character doesn't finish adventure mode within 5 lives, they are done. I can also use the control stick for smash attacks, sure, but the C-Stick code disables the camera, which I don't want to have to deal with in this challenge. I hope this bit of leniency is acceptable. This was a difficult challenge to do, but still fun, so if you enjoyed this video, do consider subscribing. I'll be covering the characters based on how far they were capable of progressing, so with all that said and done, let's see who can survive Melee's adventure mode. We start off in the lovely Mushroom Kingdom, a horizontally scrolling stage filled with platforms, blocks, Goombas, and
Koopas.
It's going to be a difficult stage for the horizontally challenged, But none of that is even going to matter if you can't even leave the starting platform. Yeah, I covered this already, how smash attacks can't send you over the edge, but for some characters, not even special attacks can move them off of it either. Donkey Kong, Ness, and Zelda all had no way of leaving this platform despite the abilities at their disposal. All of the up special moves go nowhere after the initial input, and none of their forward smash attacks push them forward. These three characters are rooted to the spot they start in, which means they are completely unable to even participate in this challenge. However, Zelda also has the ability to transform into Sheik, who also doesn't really go anywhere but can at least leave the platform. Sheik's forward smash has her move forward to the ledge, and it displaces her enough that using her up special causes her to fall just beyond the platform. Unfortunately, that's as far as Sheik can go, as the next platform is the complete opposite problem. What's worse than falling off of a 5-foot ledge? Trying to jump up a 2-foot ledge. No matter what I did as Sheik, she was just not able to push herself forward enough to land on the ledge. Kirby is in a similar situation, where his forward smash pushes him just over the edge enough that his up special can send him falling back down just beyond it. And then he meets the same fate as Sheik, being unable to climb up this low platform. No matter what I did, they could not get onto this platform. Even if I somehow did find a way over, the next immediate obstacle is an even higher ledge to climb over. So Sheik and Kirby are both unable to move any further than this low platform. And the last of our characters that can go nowhere is Yoshi. Yoshi is able to get himself off of the starting platform and over the low platform Sheik and Kirby had trouble with, both of these with ease. His side special Egg Roll is great for covering horizontal ground, and his down special Yoshi Bomb is a jump that moves him forward a bit before it comes crashing back down. But both of these only work on the ground and are completely worthless in the air. Egg Roll gains no momentum if it started in the air, and Yoshi Bomb just sends Yoshi straight down with no forward jump angle at all if it is used in the air. Both of these factor into Yoshi being unable to cross over the tall wall. I tried everything I could, but these 6 characters were just unable to go anywhere and lose the challenge before it even starts. That's a pretty bad start, so let's talk about characters that actually made some progress. First up is Samus. I wasn't entirely sure how to get her off of the starting platform, as her up special Screw attack and her down special Bomb only sent her straight up, and none of her smash attacks moved her around. But apparently her neutral special Charge Beam is capable of pushing her backwards, which covers some distance if used in the air. However, the distance is not that great, and it's really only when the move is fully charged does it push Samus. So Samus' entire run was spent repeatedly charging and firing Charge Beam to get Samus anywhere. Samus made it a fair way through, but unfortunately took a bomb to the head and lost the first life. At the area with many platforms, she got shrunk and then pushed around by a Koopa, causing her to fall into the water and wish she brought her gravity suit. Samus' only movement ability isn't a fast one, which caused Samus to time out and had to start the entire map all over again. The way back to the platforms was uneventful, but she ended up slipping off one of them and I was not able to respond in time, leaving Samus with 1 life left. With her last life, Samus had 1 minute left to make any further progress, but her last stock took out a block in the progress, which messed up my timing with the move, and Samus ended up dying the same way as before. Samus' moveset was limited and didn't cover a lot of ground, not to mention having a slow startup and a requirement with precise spacing. With such restrictive movements, unfortunately, Samus was not able to cross the Mushroom Kingdom. Mr. Game & Watch had a similar issue where his only movement option, his up special move called Fire, advanced him only a little bit. It does shoot him high into the air, so it's not a complete waste, but the angle Fire shoots him in doesn't cover a lot of distance. He's able to get through the first third of the stage easily, and the second third was filled with barely managing to cross the platforms. But it's here we come across our first major obstacle that will be an issue for many characters in this challenge: a gap of water. Characters with low horizontal movement are going to have a bad time crossing this gap. I couldn't find a way across it as Game & Watch. In fact, in subsequent lives, I couldn't even get back to that gap because Game & Watch's move destroyed the brick block platforms I used to get over here in the first place. So Mr. Game & Watch's run ends here. Marth had the same issue with this gap. He has 2 movement options, his up special Dolphin Slash and his side special Dancing Blade. Dolphin Slash doesn't go very far forward, but it does provide some decent vertical jumpage. Dancing Blade is an odd one though, as there are 4 phases to this move, each activated by pressing the B button at the end of previous phase. The first 2 phases don't move Marth anywhere, but the last 2 do, with the last phase moving him the furthest. His biggest issue, however, is that these phases will only provide movement if it is used on the ground. If it is used in the air, Marth goes nowhere. This means crossing the gap of water is just impossible for Marth to do, as Dolphin Slash does not have enough horizontal range to cross. I tried using this Power Troopa to provide some knockback, but it was just barely out of Marth's jumping range, and he ended up losing a life and then running out of time. After hut-yat-yang our way back to the water gap, this explosive crate got in our way. It probably would have been useful if Marth was on the other side of it, but instead it just cost him another life. For my final attempt, I ended up getting a bunny hood and jumping high enough to make a Goomba respawn. It surprised me, I didn't expect it to show up, but this gave me an idea. I tried to jump high enough again to make it respawn so it could knock me back and I could position my Dolphin Slash better, but it just wouldn't show up again, and I ended up missing my jump anyway, so Marth just sank into the abyss below. Even if I had been able to make it, Marth was running low on time anyway, so this run just wasn't meant to be. This one pool of water has already claimed 2 lives, but it's not done claiming victims yet. The next character that couldn't make it across is, unfortunately, my main man, Mario. Mario's only movement option is his up special, Super Jump Punch, which only moves him marginally forward at an upward angle, similar to Marth's Dolphin Slash. Mario was able to wahoo his way over to this water gap relatively easily, but I just couldn't find a way to get him across. Despite being the king of jumping, he just kept falling, and Mario just ran out of lives quickly. It's a good thing there's 2 of him. Dr. Mario is what's known as a clone character, a fighter with a shared moveset from another fighter. Melee has 6 of them, and Dr. Mario is the first one I used in this challenge, so we'll start with him. Dr. Mario is pretty similar to Mario, with his only major differences being he's a little slower and a little stronger, neither of which really help out in this challenge, so he just kinda acts as a second Mario with the same moveset. Like with Mario, we go wahooing our way through the first half of the stage and get to the water gap. I tried to be a little more creative and use the knockback from this flipper item, but I end up just completely missing it instead. For the second attempt, I tried to gain additional height with his down special, Dr. Tornado, but it just wasn't enough to get a good jump in. After messing around for a while and accidentally killing myself again, it hit me. It was like a bomb went off, a blast of inspiration, an idea so powerful it just blew me away. Okay, this is not working. This bomb blew Dr. Mario away enough that he was able to bridge the gap and be the first fighter to make it to the Yoshi fight. After getting knocked back by Koopa near the end, Dr. Mario was able to barely cross the finish line with 2 seconds to spare. So, let's talk items. I'm not banning them because Melee's Adventure Mode will just keep spawning them. I have no control over whether items spawn or not. They're more frequent in earlier levels and are non-existent in others. Some can be pretty helpful, others are the exact opposite. I don't really care how the items are used as long as we can make it to the end one way or another. However, I won't be relying on them too much, and I will only try to utilize them if I find the character I'm using is just having a hard time and could use a good explosion in their lives. And that's only if the right items spawn in within the timer restriction. In regards to bombs, we do have to be careful with them as their knockback power can be incredibly useful, but if we have too much damage on us, we could end up losing a life instead. Anyway, let's get back to the challenge. I covered Marth earlier, so let's talk about his clone fighter, Roy. He's just like Marth. He had no real issue getting to the water gap, except for this one Koopa that edge-guarded me and caused me to lose a life early. Seriously, come on. After recovering from that bout of embarrassment, we make it to where we want to be, and we utilize one key difference Roy has that Marth doesn't. Self-inflicting damage. A fully charged Flare Blade causes Roy to take recoil damage, so I figured if I had it set high enough, any knockback Roy gets would work to cross the gap. I set everything up, a bomb appeared, and it looks like this was going to go well enough. I am upset. I tried this again with a Koopa this time, and it did knock Roy far enough, but also too low and he wasn't able to recover. At this point, all Roy could do was wait out the timer and try again with his last remaining life. A bomb spawned on one of the earlier platforms, so I thought I'd try to utilize that. If this didn't work, Roy probably wouldn't make it. Roy managed to pull off what Marth couldn't, so our barely surviving boy was free to Sunte Toya-ya his way to the finish line. Bowser had a hard time with the wall at the beginning of the stage. His down special, Bowser Bomb, is similar to the Yoshi Bomb, and his forward smash also moves him forward slightly. Neither of these were able to work well enough to get over the wall, but then a friendly Super Mushroom showed up, and apparently, Super Bowser is able to Bowser Bomb his way up the wall. And yes, a Super Mushroom did spawn for Yoshi as well, however Super Yoshi's jump height still wasn't enough despite the boost. With some careful planning of forward smashes and Bowser Bombs, Bowser was able to make his way over to the water gap easily. A bomb landed nearby, so I headbutted it for science, but Bowser's damage was too high and he just went flying. For my second life, I somehow got displaced by the power trooper above without actually getting hit by it. I'm not sure what happened there, but finally, on my third life, I was able to place a flipper in just the right spot, which allowed Bowser to get knocked back onto the platform, and he was able to complete the stage just fine after that. Mewtwo was an interesting one to use. His only movement options are similar to Samus's, with a directly upwards up special called Teleport, and chargeable neutral special called Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is like Samus's Charge Shot, except the recoil goes much further. It works the best when fully charged and when used in the air, so there is some startup time to consider, but it's not too hard to work with. Because of the recoil distance, Mewtwo is able to cross the Mushroom Kingdom with ease. The same goes for Peach, Luigi, Captain Falcon, Ganondorf, Pikachu, Pichu, Jigglypuff, Fox, Falco, and Ice Climbers. all of which have special moves that send them a fair distance forward, making the Mushroom Kingdom stage a breeze for all of them. Falco did end up losing a life due to misjudging the distance on his side special, so oops. You might notice that I didn't cover Link and Young Link yet, and that's because they're weird. They both have two options for horizontal movement. Their side smash attack, which can go further with another press of the A button, and blowing themselves up. The Links can pull out bombs, which can either be deployed at their feet or held onto until they explode. But these bombs have some weird properties to them. Focusing on just Link, his bombs when thrown at his feet knock him back in the direction he was facing. So if we want to move right, we have to be facing right. Makes sense enough, and it works the same way in the air. Link's vertical option, the up special spin attack, only goes straight up when activated. So if Link needs to get over a tall object, he needs a bomb in his hand. After enough time has passed, the bomb will explode, giving Link both sideways air movement and an additional up special usage if he did that already. This is actually a recovering trick commonly referred to as bomb recovery. In order for Link to get over an object, he has to be facing towards the object for the bomb to knock him in that direction. But if your timing's off, he may not be able to cross properly. In some cases, Link's bomb can be the fastest of his two horizontal movement options, but it comes with the same risk as the bomb, being that if Link's damage is too high, it could be dangerous. It doesn't have the same knockback power as a bomb, but it's still a risky move. Though with the right amount of damage, Link can make it across the water gap on his own and clear the level just fine. Young Link, though, doesn't act the same way at all, at least in terms of bomb usage. When throwing them at his feet, Young Link barely moves at all. Sometimes he'll bounce and recoil, but most of the time he just won't. And when he does bounce, he appears to have negative knockback, making him recoil in the opposite direction he is facing, which is the opposite thing Vanilla Link does. And of course, this is the same thing in the air, which means in order for us to get over something, we need to be facing away from it. All of this can be accounted for, but it is awkward to manage. These different properties are based on Young Link's general size differences from regular Links, and apparently Young Link's bombs are also smaller and are carried at a lower angle. I'm not entirely sure why Young Link doesn't react the same way to a bomb blowing up at his feet, but regardless, Young Link had a difficult time getting across the stage. Despite Young Link's lighter weight than Big Link's, he doesn't get thrown around as much with his own bombs. I could not get him across the water gap even with more damage than I had on Adult Link. And then I guess the program stopped recording anything after that, but rest assured,
you didn't make it.
So overall, Mario, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Kirby, Ness, Samus, Zelda, Sheik, Young Link, Mr. Game & Watch, and Marth were all unable to clear the Mushroom Kingdom. That is 11 out of 26 characters, which is not a great start. That is 42% of our roster unable to clear just the first stage, and things are only going to get tougher from here. The next couple of levels are fights against Mario and Peach, or Luigi and Peach, followed by 2 mini Donkey Kongs and then 1 giant Donkey Kong. The Mario Brothers and Peach fight is relatively simple, though there are a few cases where they were making things a little difficult. Most of the time though, they do actively approach you, making it easy to combo them into various up smash juggles. Fox did end up losing a life though. The mini Donkey Kongs are so lightweight that one up smash was enough to kill them for most fighters. The giant Donkey Kong might seem like an issue at first, but he's actually a total pushover. You just back throw him. The C stick is capable of throwing fighters since the A button part of the macro is just ignored during the move. Every fighter except for Roy, Link, and Bowser are capable of using a back throw from the platform they start on to get rid of Donkey Kong. Roy and Link just simply lack the necessary strength to do so, with Link having a particularly difficult time for me. Bowser though is just too large to effectively grab giant Donkey Kong from where he starts, and end up displacing DK to where he will immediately grab the ledge. I'm not entirely sure why the ledge takes priority over Bowser's grab, but it's not a problem for the Koopa King. Every remaining fighter was able to get through these fights with ease. While the Mushroom Kingdom tested their horizontal skills, the next stage will test their vertical ones. The underground maze is an underground maze. What a shocker. Inspired by the Zelda series, it has many tunnels and obstacles to navigate, with your goal being to find the Triforce in one of 6 rooms. Every other room will put you in a fight against Link, who you have to defeat in order to move on. The rooms are randomly assigned, which means this challenge could be easy for most and difficult for others. After spending too much time bouncing our way through the opening corridor, we are dropped in a tall central room containing many platforms and redeads. The redeads aren't particularly challenging, but man are they annoying. Most of the characters are able to get around relatively easily. Dr. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Captain Falcon, Ganondorf, Fox, Falco, Link, Pichu, and Roy all found their Triforces quickly with no real issues. Pikachu and the Ice Climbers did find their Triforces as well, though Pikachu lost his connection during a Link battle, and the Ice Climbers had a hard time climbing. The Ice Climbers actually have some decent movement capabilities, with their side special Squall Hammer gaining distance with rapid presses of the B button, and their up special Belay sends Nana upwards to then swing Popo to follow. Both of these, however, have a hard time with precision platforming, and Belay doesn't even work if the partner gets KO'd, which causes the Ice Climbers to time out and lose a life during their search. And I also accidentally killed Jigglypuff. twice. Bowser gave me a bit of an issue. During her search, he came across this one ledge that he just could not get over. I couldn't go backwards because of the drop-off he went down to get here, but no matter what I did, I just could not get over it. I was about ready to give up on this life, the timer was ticking down and I wasn't sure what else to do, but then I accidentally remembered Bowser has a side special move. The Koopa Claw is a forward swipe that basically just acts as a longer grab. Keyword in that sentence being forward, because it moves Bowser forward, even when Bowser is airborne. This move would have been nice to remember earlier. Luckily, the Triforce was in the next room, so Bowser's persistence to get over the ledge paid off. Mewtwo had the toughest time trying to find his Triforce, even getting blown up by a bomb in the process. Not only is his main movement option incredibly slow and not great in cramped spaces, he just could not find his Triforce the first time around. Nor the second time around. He went through the same 5 rooms both times, all of them containing Link battles both times, which means the Triforce randomized into the same room twice, and it was in the most difficult room to get to for this challenge. So for Mewtwo's third try, I made my way up there to start with, and yeah, it's not there. This meant he had to continue searching through the entire maze again, nearly fighting every Link. Again. But with 2 minutes to spare, Mewtwo did eventually find his way to a Triforce, which means every fighter moves on to the second part of the stage, a fight with Zelda. It's just a standard one-on-one fight with the Princess of Hyrule, so there's nothing special here. She'll follow you, so you can bait her to the upper platform for some easy juggling. However, Zelda is an easily distracted princess and tends to go for just about every item that spawns into the fight. And she also really enjoys her walks, so she takes her time getting anywhere. Seriously, what is it with AI Zelda characters having a hard time focusing? Since most of our fighters had limited movement capabilities, it was easier to just wait for her to come to us. So provided we can be interesting enough to warrant the attention of her royal abstractedness, Zelda goes down easy and everyone can move on. Up next is Brinstar, which is a Metroid stage. If you're a competitive player, you've probably never fought on it. We're thrown into another duel, this time against Samus. She's easy to deal with for most fighters, just keep juggling her up with up specials until she flies. Oh my gosh, I jumbled that line bad. Just keep juggling her with up smashes until she flies off. Mewtwo was not able to recover after getting pushed off the stage, but otherwise there weren't any real issues in this fight. It's actually what happens next that presents a problem. Immediately following the fight with Samus, we are thrown into an escape sequence. Someone hit the self-destruct button on the planet, so we have 40 seconds to get out of here. Normally this would be plenty of time, however, I am not normal. Our goal is to get to the top of this vertical stage and reach an elevator platform. The problem is the platforms to get up there are spaced just far enough from each other to make me think Nintendo planned against this challenge 23 years ago. Just about everyone had a hard time even landing on these small platforms, much less getting past the first checkpoint. Even our greatest movers like Captain Falcon were having great difficulty. In fact, the only characters I was able to successfully escape with were Fox and Falco. Usually when a timer ends in adventure mode, the character loses a life and they have to start the level again. But this escape sequence is unique. Instead of restarting the challenge, you can still move on as long as you have more than 1 life remaining. Which is, bad news for Mewtwo and Roy believers. We both made it here on their last life, and neither were able to get anywhere close to the end of the stage. Sadly, they both perished in the planet's explosion, never to be seen again. Up next is the Kirby stage. The first match is a one-on-one with the pink puffball, nothing too substantial there. After beating him, you're thrown into a horde battle with a bunch of Kirbys and hats. A horde battle is basically the game just throwing a bunch of easy-to-kill enemies, in this case, a ton of Kirbys all with different copy abilities. Both the one-on-one and the horde fight are no problem, but if you beat the horde fight in 30 seconds or less, we'll witness something truly magical. This is Giant Kirby. He's a big Kirby, but like with Giant Donkey Kong earlier, he poses no real issue. Not everyone got to fight the Giant Kirby, but all remaining fighters make it through this Kirby gauntlet with no lives lost. Fox. We continue our space journey with Corneria, a one-on-one fight with Fox, to then be followed by another fight with either Fox again or Falco. The first fight is nothing noteworthy, but the second involves lasers. Team Star Fox comes down to lay down cover fire for their fighting teammate, but it tends to result in friendly fire most of the time. Overall, these are simple fights that every remaining fighter is fully capable of handling. We immediately enter another horde fight after this, with this one centered around Pokemon. Various Pikachu, Pichu, and Jigglypuff will fall from the sky, but they can all be just as easily sent back. Though the rain of Pokeballs can make things difficult sometimes, no one lost any lives and everyone moved on. We've had a good set of stages here with back-to-back battles. All of our remaining fighters are doing pretty good, but this next stage is one that is going to separate the boys from the men. And the lady. This is the F-Zero Grand Prix, a long horizontal stage where you race against race cars. On foot. The primary goal here is to survive being run over and make it to the goal. Overall, it's not a difficult course if you weren't playing with restricted movement. But in this challenge, this stage made me question if this challenge was even possible. About every 10 seconds, the F-Zero racers will make their round and violate our fighter's personal space. You either have to stay in the air for a few seconds to avoid them, or use one of the scattered platforms throughout the stage. You can get run over once and be just fine, but if you get run over again, it's almost certainly a death. It's actually not the racers I'm worried about though, it's these three small hazardous platforms you have to cross over near the end of the track. The first platform is a large, downward slanted platform, which is fine for the most part, as that means most fighters wouldn't have trouble getting to it. But the next two are elevated and narrow, making precision jumps difficult. This means fighters have to move both up and then right in order to make it across. To make things worse, all three are over the abyss, so if you miss your jump, that's it. Dr. Mario and Bowser were victims of some pretty brutal hit and runs. Peach and the Ice Slammers were able to make it to the first platform, but could not make it any farther than that. Link tried to use a tactic called blowing yourself up to gain invincibility frames, but he wasn't able to get onto the first platform at all. Pikachu was the most upsetting, as he was able to make it all the way across with his up special Quick Attack and his side special Skull Bash, covering good vertical and horizontal distance respectively. He was right at the end of the map, but lost too many lives trying to get here, and ended up getting sideswiped at the last moment. And Jigglypuff used their rollout to cross the first platform, but couldn't stop in time and ended up rolling right off the road. Ganondorf, despite sharing the same moveset as Captain Falcon, was not able to make it to the end. His side special, Gerudo Dragon, and up special, Dark Dive, actually covered less distance than Captain Falcon's counterparts, which made crossing the platforms difficult. Pichu, however, with the same moveset as Pikachu, was able to make it all the way for me. The remaining fighters, Luigi, Captain Falcon, Fox, and Falco, also all made it across, as they all had excellent movement specials. The F-Zero Grand Prix cost a lot of lives. Captain Falcon only lost one, but Luigi and Pichu lost 3, putting them on their last lives. Fox and Falco didn't lose any lives, but we lost 8 fighters to just the F-Zero Grand Prix alone. We have 5 left, and those 5 still had to fight against Captain Falcon after all that. He went down easily in comparison though. Things get relatively simple from here on though. Next is a fight in Onett against a trio of Nesses. They aren't too difficult, but they do see the Mr. Saturn item as a priority, which can make approaching them a little annoying. Luckily, some of the Nesses weren't taught to not play in traffic. Icicle Mountain is a vertical stage that auto-scrolls. As long as your fighter can keep up with their jumps, they'll be fine. Just don't jump too high. After defeating the duo of Ice Climber duos, we are brought to the battlefield. The battlefield consists of another horde fight, this time with the fighting wireframes, which are basically clones of Zelda and Captain Falcon. The low gravity in the stage makes jumping a little interesting, but the wireframes all go down easily. From low gravity to heavy gravity, our next immediate fight is with the Metal Mario brothers. This is both a Metal Mario and Metal Luigi, who are simply heavier versions of the bros and don't take much knockback. They might sound tough from a 2-on-1 perspective, but our fighters stayed strong and made it through just fine. We've been through a lot. From the testing grounds of the Mushroom Kingdom to the depths of the underground maze, to the insanity of the F-Zero Grand Prix. They've learned new skills, pushed through challenges, and fought many battles. We've started with 26 fighters, and now we're down to 5. This challenge has been an interesting experience for me, but now it all comes down to this, as we arrive at our final destination. Our final challenge is a one-on-one matchup with Bowser. This Bowser is actually a little larger than playable Bowser, but unlike Giant Donkey Kong and Giant Kirby from earlier, there's no difference between this Bowser and our Bowser from what I can tell. He's just bigger. This isn't an unusual challenge, so as long as we're careful, we should be fine. Oh boy, I legit got scared there for a moment. Depending on the fighter and the item drops, Bowser can be taken care of quickly or he might stick around a while. But overall, Luigi, Captain Falcon, Fox, Falco, and Pichu all made it through to the end. Editor Alex here. I was going through video footage and I realized I flubbed up my lines. Pichu actually died. Carry on. So, is that it? This challenge was done on very easy, but I felt like it was a little too easy at times. The platforming stages were where the real challenge was, but the battles were kind of lackluster. Surely there has to be something bigger to end on, some grand finale battle to truly test our character's abilities. This is Giga Bowser. A more monstrous form of Bowser, Giga Bowser really throws his weight around. Normally, you can only fight him if you clear adventure mode on normal or higher difficulty, and if you beat Bowser within 18 total minutes of the mode itself. But I'm not going to go through all that with all these characters, so I mimicked the fight in debug mode. Set the CPU player to level 9 Giga Bowser, place us on Final Destination, and boom. And for this final challenge, everyone is able to participate using the same rule set we got here with. So, who can defeat a level 9 Giga Bowser without moving?
Congratulations!
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you. I recently started a full-time job, so my time with video editing has been reduced, but I hope you enjoyed this challenge video. I haven't done a no movement challenge before, so this was an interesting experience. I have more content on the way, both here and on my Alex95 channel, so do subscribe if you want to see more. Until next time, I'll see you around.